Welcome everybody back to the channel. We got something a little different today. Maybe you can see by the team setup here. That's right, I was stupid enough to think that I could win a 1v3. Let's see how I do it. The players on the other side are going to be Frosty Teeth, playing as the Galzian here, which is a little bit interesting. Cow with Schmau playing as the Galzian, and I expect some synergy between these two because they're of course teammates in the 2v2 league. Karakit Ice Cream, of course, is their team name. Then we've got this guy, I don't know. He's playing as the Soban. I've never actually seen him before. We played one game with him and his friend before this, but that's about all. Eudochs. Maybe. So, yeah, like I was saying, we probably are going to see some synergy between these two, and they're both going Sandskimmer Fabrication straight into a PC rush. Why does that make sense? Well, because obviously, if you're in a 3v1, your chances of being able to attack him in his main are pretty good, right? Looks like, I'll just call him EU, okay? Looks like EU is kind of the pocket player. He's gonna just now queue his salvages up to go moving. But he's probably gonna go for a bit more of a macro style and try and, do a thing, you know what I mean? I'm playing as Coalition, by the way, and I do this because I feel like this is really the only way I'm gonna have a chance in like in unequal odds game. And the artifacts, mind you, are also turned off. This is good. If artifacts are turned on, unequal odds games become like ridiculously hard. So I'm gonna see everything that I needed to see, which is 2 production cruisers on their way already. I even saw a Sandskimmer over there, so I know for sure what's going on here. My idea then was, well, support cruiser first should be fine for me, but I definitely need to get some defense right off the bat. So a good tech to get here would actually be base runner inventory and then make another base runner. The idea being to go for like turrets in the early game. And turrets, of course, very, very effective against Strikecraft, and that can allow me to hold on for just a little bit longer. I know the rush distance also on this map, very, very long, because it's a 3v3 map, you know what I mean? It's meant to be big. It says base runner inventory on the way. Sport cruiser is almost finished, and I'll be on 2 bases before too long, which means my economy will be better than actually everybody I'm playing against. But it's a little funny, like I said, this guy here, he should be going for economy probably, because then you get a nice, kind of like setup where these two guys are keeping me distracted, stopping me from going macro, and you meanwhile can just build up like as much as you want. You know, you can have a massive army because you're basically unopposed going for resources in the early game. Turret is about ready to pop, and as I'm going up to the hill to pop it, I see all these guys start running down at me, so I'm like, ugh. This turret here will certainly be killed, but that one there should go up if I have the CUs for it. Actually, yeah, there you go. So, turret getting set up there now. I have Power Reserve 1 already, so I'm going to be able to fight back. I have a lot of defensive options. I should be okay here. So as you can see, that turret gets taken out, but there's a second one there ready to shoot these guys down. By the time they've cleaned up this turret, I should have done quite a lot of damage to them with the carrier and with the turrets themselves. So you can see there's only 7 of these guys left now. They probably are going to kill a salvager right here. Indeed they shall. But I wouldn't expect them to get any other salvager pickups on that side. This side is a good place to attack though, because my carrier can't heal those units. Oh, and look at this, very nicely done by, who is this? By Frosty Teeth, as he's kind of like staying up on the high ground there to get the extra damage. Whoa! They're queuing up a lot of orders over there. But yeah, so he gets that extra damage, and he also is out of the range of my carrier, so I can't really respond to him very nicely either. So how many salvagers go down here then? It's been 1 so far. Focus fire is not there, probably because it's 2 different players doing it, which makes it obviously very difficult. 2 turrets getting set up here. Another salvager goes down though, so that's 3 kills already. Could very well be a 4th kill here. No, 4th kill not going to come down, as they now attempt to attack those turrets there, but there's healing, of course, from the carrier, so that's going to handle it just nicely. And the initial wave is really held off. Some more LAVs are here, there's still Sandskimmers in the area, but with 2 turrets in the main, I'm going to be fine. I'm not going to get pushed off here, and I'm actually also getting AAV fabrication so that I can then push out of my base and try to, get something going here. Let's look at the tech for my opponents. No tech on anyone except for Cow, who has gone for railguns. Refiner mode coming in for him now. Refiner mode probably on the way for Frosty Teeth, or I would hope so anyway. Although, production crews are actually really far away, aren't they? But I like the move anyway, because you're not going to be able to do much if you stay here. You know, it's fine to now move back once you see these turrets here, and then just go for like a macro style. But no, it looks like they want to keep the pressure up, actually. 2 more turrets, meanwhile, going to get set up right there. Because, you know, they could just build up like a really big army of Strikecraft and then push in. I don't want them to do that, so I'm just going to set up some turrets there. I'll be fine. AAVs are on the way, carrier production getting upgraded. And there you go, 2 at a time, AAVs is going to be quite nice. It's also railgun fabrication, it looks like, for Frosty Teeth. Fighter and gunship coming out for EU. And Refiner Mode going to finish in about 7 seconds for Cow, but he has not moved away his production cruiser right here. And like I said, I don't think he's going to be able to really do much like attacking at this point. So I think that would have been a good move to move that guy away. Oh no, EU, don't be that guy. Don't take your opponent, your allies second. Go there, go there. Maybe it's just a bad rally point and he's just kind of, yeah, okay, it's probably a bad rally point. He's just sort of moving out to where his rally point is on accident. Well, they do have railgun fabrication, so Cow is going to start making, or no, is that, yeah, Cow Shmao going to start making some heavy railguns there to start dealing with me there. So I'm just going to pop smoke immediately and back away. I don't want to take that fight. I know I'm going to lose it. But I feel like I've gotten myself some breathing room now. Fully saturated once again on these bases, and I'm making another support cruiser and a couple of salvagers to fill up that base also. Fighter and gunship fabrication is finished, but I do have the potential to make air, or like anti-air right here, and I'm also expecting it. I mean, I know that that's kind of like the thing that you would go for. So I probably won't be caught out. Wait, I'm getting fighter and gunship. Whoa! Sorry. Yeah, so I'm actually going for that too. I guess that does make sense, and that's also going to be good because you can fight an air-on-air war, and my macro is amazingly better than his right now. I'm not sure how that works, but yeah, you know. Just going to pick off some scanners there, but I can't get any closer. 2 base runners have done me some very, very good things in this game here, and I've never actually had problems with CUs, so making the turrets is basically free. Because having, like, you know, 2 bases that are, like, main bases, I have tons of CUs. That's always a nice thing when you're playing this type of build here. It looks like EU actually going for a gunship. That's kind of an interesting choice there, considering that I don't have that many Strikecraft, and it's really a bit too late to expect that you're going to be able to do too much eco damage. But it looks like all these players kind of gearing up for an attack there. We got assault railguns, we got heavies, we got a bunch of sand skimmers, and then we're going to have a gunship out on the field as well. I'm trying to get some scouting over here, and that's fine because my LAVs are not really going to contribute too much to this fight. So I'm okay to move those guys away. And I believe I've got my base quite nicely covered. I'm not going to be surprised by like some area that I haven't got covered from like with turrets. AAVs are also going to be able to chase into the backlines here, and the edge of the map is like... Okay, well actually it's right there. That's kind of odd. I don't know, man. Assault Railgun's going to run into the turrets as well, and there's like 4 of them here, so you don't really want to do that. Strike Fighter's also getting launched. And air is a very nice counter to the rails. That's why I said it was a good move that I should go for that. AVs have taken out almost all of these sand skimmers. There's only 3 left. I'm not even sure if that's enough to out-DPS the support cruiser. Yeah, it looks like it is, but just barely. But once again, I don't have any CU problems. I've got like 2,000 of the things. So I can just go ahead and make 2 turrets here. Gunship comes in, but I've got strike fighters for my anti-air right now. And that should be just fine. I'm also not sure where it's going. Yeah, strike fighters can't fire their shot until they feel like they're in like the proper position to do it, you know what I mean? So, oh, what is this? Am I gonna leave that guy on like 2 slices of health? Yeah, here comes the slices. Can you have slices of health? Well, the strike fighter finishes him off before he's able to get any kills. A bunch of railguns went down here, by the way. I wasn't looking, but if you look at the units lost tab now, I've not lost a single RU. But amazingly, I'm also at the very bottom of the list of units lost, so I've handled this just fine. Missile batteries on the way as well, because I feel like I might not be able to outproduce this guy, so I'm just going to get some missile batteries here, and that'll be my supplementary anti-air, and they're also quite nice against sand skimmers, which have been used against me quite muchly, I guess you could say. The strike fighter here gonna try to cause me some grief, I guess. No, he's just gonna fly around. I could even launch to kill him, but I don't think it's really worth it. Another carrier production upgrade going in, and I'm on full macro. This is more macro than you ever even really need, because I'm gonna have so much CUs, like so much CUs. I'm gonna have a lot of CUs basically. Not gonna be able to spend all of these. So I'm fine now, going for like masses of LAVs. I can get as many of them as I want. I can get AAVs, railguns, whatever. I've got the money for basically anything except for tech. That's gonna cause make me, you know, save up a little bit. Since I'm only actually on, you know, 3 bases worth of RU, so I don't just have infinite of those to spend. What that means is that I should prioritize strategies that are heavy on CUs, like, you know, base runner turrets, which as you can see I'm using quite extensively. I've got 6 of them on the field right now, and a bunch of them have been killed already too. And LAVs. As well as, you know, a lot of support cruisers, because support cruisers can supplement an army quite nicely. They get that insane anti-air. They heal everybody, you know, it's a good time. Everyone has a good time when there's support cruisers in the mix. Is anti-air being researched meanwhile? Has been by EU. No, it hasn't, because it's behind AAV fabrication. But it has been by Cow, who also has interceptor fabrication. It's a little dangerous. And by Frosty. They both have anti-air. Ah, Majira, I've discovered something. This causes the game to lag a lot if you just flick between carriers too much. That kind of makes sense, though. Get a smoke up here so I don't get killed by these railguns and then push in and try to kill them. Unfortunately, air units will always auto-target a base runner, which is really kind of dumb, because that's obviously not what I want to go for. So I'm having a bit of a hard time getting them to do what I want. I'm no Catharsis. And in fact, I'm going to lose the strike fighter to close air support. No, I'm not. Hey, look at that. No, I did lose one. To the production cruiser right there. Close air? What am I even saying? I don't know, but you get the idea. Now there's a tactical bomber on the way, finished for EU. One interceptor in the pipe for Cow, but that's obviously not going to do too much. I think the missile batteries just cleared those guys out. I'm not sure, though. There's a support cruiser to heal these guys up as well. Here comes some air. And, you know, the tactical bomber can be good against railguns. He picks off one railgun right there already. But there is adequate anti-air in this area to block that. Strike fighter goes down. It looks like the bomber recognized he couldn't do anything and he goes back home. I'm getting assault cruiser fabrication. I obviously don't really want assault cruisers right here. It wouldn't really help my army. But what I do want is artillery. Mostly because I know that my opponent is going to go for that as well. Or my opponents, that is. And I need to have that to match, or else I could have a really hard time. I also want to prioritize getting power reserves. You can see I'm on 3 already, and I've held the line up to here. Looking at this now, I really should try to push on one of these flanks, because I feel like if I hold the line here, I'm letting them have all of their bases, and they must out-macro me, right? So that's probably not the wisest move for me, but I was going to say it'll do, but actually it really won't. When you're playing 1v3, you can't make mistakes like this. Artillery's on the way. Armor upgrades for Cow, siege cruiser fabrication for Frosty, who already has his armor upgrades. What am I looking like on that? None of them just yet. So, definitely you can see it's tricky to hold off against this many people, you know what I mean? And honestly, I think I would coordinate, sort of, if I was in this situation over here and say, like, alright, you know, like, EU, you're gonna make a whole bunch of railguns, because coalition railguns are generally, like, seen as better, because you can mass them up a lot better, and they're still blunt. Oh, wow, yeah, definitely. Cow, you're just gonna make sand skimmers. Me, I'm just gonna make artillery, or like siege cruisers, you know what I mean? And then you could just have like unholy amounts of all of those on the field, and I wouldn't really be able to counter it. Instead, you kind of have to handle like the combined arms aspect of your army for like all 3 players. That's a little bit tricky. Powers are 4 on the way. Artillery cruiser fabrication almost finished, and I'm just panning the air, trying to find, you know, some place where I can get some value in. I see that anti-air turret. I'm not interested in that particular area. And there does seem to be anti-air covering basically everything. I could go for like bombers to try to crack that, but I really don't want to invest the time into that. But these guys will be very useful when my opponents inevitably choose to push me. Here comes a tactical bomber, speaking of which. And a swath of LAVs. A swath? Is that even a word? I don't know what I'm talking about, guys. Well, Sand Skimmer should be able to take this fight, but I've got an ace up my sleeve, of course. Boom. That is disgusting. And now they're going to get hunted by anti-air as well, so that's always very nice. And the tactical bomber just going to choose to dock. I mean, he doesn't have anything to do really, so I've repelled them. Harzer 5 coming on the way, and you know that's when you get the cruise missiles. That's obviously very good for me. EU, meanwhile, almost at that point himself. He just needs to get Harzer 4, which he has the resources for, but he's not getting just yet. Cal, by the way, making triple anti-air. Wow, he really wants anti-air. Frosty Teeth already making siege cruisers, and he may already have some finished. I'm not sure though. No, it doesn't look like it. It's a nice little backstab of Sand Skimmers using that high ground position that's a little wonky on this map. And actually, there's a whole bunch of interceptors over here. I did not notice this in game. But there's still all these turrets set up here. Noticeably less than before, but still. The air units, however, are going to have a field day, and they go ahead and take out a support cruiser right there. I'm actually going to try to fight them with my strike fighters, which normally you would never do. But my thought here was that, you know, he's not going to be paying attention to it enough to like attack my air units. And sure enough, if you can see, I haven't lost anyone just yet. So I am incurring some losses on my opponent. It's like I've taken out 3 of them, and I should take out a couple more on the retreat, especially if they fly over the anti-air. But no, he knows what he's doing, and he goes off this direction. 3 support cruisers killed, and obviously the CU cost is not really a big problem to me, but the fact that I don't have RU income now is a really big deal. First cruise missile going to come out. Does take out a couple of railguns, despite the fact that they obviously dodged it because of their siege cruisers, and their siege cruisers, because, you know, they're cruise missiles and they do what they want. The rest of the railguns also going to get cleaned up, and I'm going to recognize I really need to push out here. I can't just like take this fight here because eventually I'm going to lose to it. Support cruiser anti-air, by the way, coming out. Siege cruise missile going to be finished in about 1.5 minutes. It's going to be battle cruisers from EU, which is an excellent choice because they won't get killed by cruise missiles very early on. It's going to be more siege from Frosty. Looks like it's going to be just smaller units for Cal. But you can see I'm definitely taking this railgun war here quite handily. At this point, maybe not so much because these guys are also on high ground. Yeah, it looks like this fight I'm going to have to lose. And all of these LAVs get taken out there as well. So I noticed that I had to push out, but it doesn't look like I've been able to do it successfully, does it? Is the range upgrade finished for Cal? Or, no, for Frosty? No, not yet. That's kind of a silver lining, you know what I mean? That's very good to see, because otherwise I'd be in a lot of trouble. Tactical bomber just kind of gets smashed. I have anti-air on the support cruiser. I have, you know, 2 missile batteries here. That's never going to get anywhere. I also have 4 anti-air turret posts, so yeah. That was not really the place where he wanted to be. I'm going to replenish my LAV army, as you can see. I mean, I'm trying to build up to fleet cap, you know what I mean? This is not, like, wrong to do if you have this many resources in the bank. I probably want to get getting these upgrades as well, because that would help me a lot if it comes to, you know, skimmer wars. Cal, meanwhile, looks like he has taken his Tier 3 tech choice now, and it is, what are they called? Honor Guard cruisers, right. Still no cruise missiles from any player, though, except for me. And I've got one ready. If I can find a nice target, this could change things somewhat, you know. I can't take out battle cruisers yet, but you know, just because I don't have anything to support. And there's 3 of them on the field, mind you. But I can take out siege. And that would be very nice indeed. First artillery cruiser, by the way, coming out for me now. Unfortunately, these guys are all queued up to like build one at a time. But I realize it, and so I start reassigning them, which is nice. Siege cruisers are so cool, man. And the barrage comes down on the hard point, which makes a lot of sense, you gotta think. Cruise missile immediately used on it, and I find 2 battle cruisers as well, which is much more than I was hoping for. Siege cruiser goes down. But that means battle cruiser free zone for at least 2 minutes. They ought to use that to their advantage and push right now, I think. Suddenly, this doesn't look so good, does it? I had air superiority for a second there. I was just kind of attacking with impunity against those units, but I no longer have that because those interceptors came in, but they all just got killed off. So I could actually launch again, but these guys, of course, need to recharge, and it takes them some time. They have to go through the docking animation all the way, and, you know, it's just, it's a thing, right? Still, though, good opening for me here. Siege cruiser going to start opening up on this area. My artillery cruiser probably ought to open up in response. Don't know if I have range on him here, but... Frame rate begins to plummet. These battle cruisers here are in a very nice position. And there's artillery to counter that as well, but it has to be used very, very carefully if you want to counter battle cruisers with it. This is not really carefully, this is not really what I want to be doing. There we go. So I'm going to back away now. The reason that Siege can counter battle cruisers is because of the way that Siege can do the indirect fire, and it just, there's no way to get away from it, you know what I mean? However, it's still going to be tricky in this scenario because there are also support cruisers here, and these are also Saban battle cruisers with much longer range, so I need to be careful about the way that I handle that. My probe there is going to see those sand skimmers off on that side, so I'm going to launch again, probably at that. Oh, no, I don't want to be doing this. I'm going to start hemorrhaging some strike fighters here, and that represents a lot of RUs that I really don't have to give away. Artillery cruisers are going to start repositioning. These things are so painfully slow, it's really sad. LEVs come sliding in over here, and the upgrades are in my favor at this point, or they're equal. So that means in my favor actually as Coalition, because we know LEVs are kind of ridiculous. I'm not doing a very good job of keeping away from these sand skimmers though, and they're actually able to take a pretty good trade here. And a whole bunch of sand skimmers come in on this side, and they find this artillery cruiser, and that's really bad. I actually do have an AAV that can smoke it, but I don't realize until too late, but that's what I need to be doing. So you see me fire the smoke right there. That's too late now. Gaussian missile barrage starts hitting all these railguns. Sand skimmers start streaming in. They're looking for that second artillery cruiser. If they can get it, that's a big deal for me. I find a nice juicy target for a cruise missile right over here. But I need to be able to capitalize, and I really just don't have anything to do it. Double artillery cruiser barrage would have been insane there, but actually they both just got killed off. So that's quite convenient for the red team. And at this point it looks like I'm getting pushed back here, probably unable to really respond to this. 2 gunships, by the way, I'm not really sure why. I don't know what that's going to do for him. Yeah, EU has to fall back because his army got really damaged right there. But the other 2 players should be able to push forward. And Cao actually getting very aggressive with it as he moves his carrier out into the middle. And you can see why I was worried about Siege for this. I basically have to play on the defense the whole time until I can find an opening where I'm able to attack, and if your opponent is playing on the defense, Siege is the way to break them. You know what I'm saying? So, this is going to be difficult for me, to say the least. My carrier has quite a bit of power in there, so it's very nice for taking out these railguns from afar. But it's not going to be enough. Like I need to have a strong force that can kind of back all this up. And it looks like my opponents are backing away. But at this point in the game, I thought like, well, it's nice that I've convinced them that I have an army, but I still don't actually have one. And I figured that would be a bit of an issue moving forward. Because all I've got right now is like 5 LAVs, an AAV, and then like 2 base runners. And that's my army. So I need to replenish it really quickly. But they can produce 3 times as fast as me, so that's going to be a little bit troublesome. Barrages come in here, but I choose to leave these siege cruisers in the barrage, or these support cruisers in the barrage, because I know that they're not really going to take too much damage. And they can heal each other up and whatever. I think maybe I have a chance to come in here and kill a siege cruiser, but there's actually an honor guard up on the hill there that takes out all those LAVs, so that's quite nicely done by Cao and Schmau. And my hard points are slowly getting pushed back on. There is like a chance that if I had a bunch of railguns I could kill this carrier right here, but I really just don't have that. I still am going to use the cruise missile on it, and I'm thinking if I can get a carrier kill, that's when I can start maybe getting myself into this game in some degree. So even though it's probably going to end in me dying, I'm going to run in there and see if I can get the kill on Cal's carrier. And if I could do that, then maybe there's a chance. If not, I feel like the game's going to be over, and so I decide that it's worth the risk of losing my carrier. Precision Strike going to be used on that Galzian carrier, but I was actually curious if this landed in game. Decently well. I actually get caught on like the wreck bulkhead, which is pretty sad for me. But there's also a bunch of railguns in the air, but look, they're actually backing away. Oh, there's railguns over here too, yeah, never mind. So there's no way my carrier is possibly going to survive this. And that simply must be the end. It is finished. So like I said, I certainly can't 1v3 these guys, but I thought it was worth a try. I thought it was pretty fun too. And I think it was Cal, maybe it was Frosty, also requested that I cast this one, so here I am. And that was not entirely a spanking. I think I did very well in the beginning, for example. But yeah, they definitely beat me. So, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next video, whenever that may be.